Hey Jeff, are you ready for English class? I believe it starts in a couple minutes.
Yeah, we'd better get going. Maybe we'll see Jamie after class.
Alright, let's go. Hey, what have you been learning in your English class lately? Well, we've been studying the future tense. It's been a bit confusing for me. Yeah, I remember when we were studying that. What specifically is confusing you? Well, I'm having trouble understanding when to use will versus will be going to for future events. That's a good question. Will is generally used for spontaneous decisions, whereas be going to is used for planned events or things that you intend to do. Can you give me an example? Sure. Let's say someone invites you to go to the beach tomorrow. If you haven't made any plans yet, you could say, I'll go to the beach tomorrow. But if you've already made plans to go to the movies with somebody else, you would say, I'm going to the movies tomorrow. Okay, that makes sense. But what about the future continuous tense? When do we use that? The future continuous tense is used to describe an act that will be in progress at a specific point in time in the future. For example, at this time tomorrow, I will be studying for my exam. I see. And what about future perfect tense? The future perfect tense is used to describe an action that would have been completed by a certain time in the future. For example, by this time next year, I will have graduated from college. Wow, there are a lot of different forms to remember. Do you have any tips for how to remember them all? Yeah, I found it helpful to practice using them in context. You could try writing out sentences in different tenses, or even try to make up a story using all of the different tenses. That's a good idea. I'll have to give that a try. Another tip is to pay attention to when the native speaker uses different tenses in conversation. It can help you get a better understanding of how and when to use them yourself. That's a great point. I'll make sure to listen more closely to native speakers. Yeah. And don't worry too much about making mistakes. It's natural to make errors when you're learning a new language. And the more you practice, the better you'll get. Wow, thank you so much for this advice. I really appreciate it. It's nice to have a friend who's fluent in English. Of course, happy to help anytime. Hey, have you ever thought about future tenses? Yeah, I have. What about them? Well, I find them a bit confusing. Do you think you can explain them to me, please? Sure, I'll do my best. What specifically do you find confusing about them? Well, I'm not sure when to use will and when to use going to. I see what you mean. Will is typically used for predictions and decisions made at the moment of speaking, while going to is used for plans or intentions that have already been made. Okay, that makes sense. Can you give me an example? Sure. Let's say you're trying to decide what to do tonight. You could say, I will go to the movies. If you haven't made up your mind yet, but if you've already bought tickets and made plans, you would say, I'm going to the movies tonight. I think I get it. So, what about future continuous tense? That's used to talk about actions that will be in progress at a certain point in the future. For example, I will be studying all night, or he'll be working on his project at this time tomorrow. Okay, that makes sense. And what about the future perfect tense? That's used to talk about completed actions in the future. For example, by next year, I will have graduated from college, or they will have finished building the new bridge by then. Got it. And what about the future perfect continuous tense? That's used to talk about actions that will have been in progress for a specific amount of time in the future. For example, by the time I finish my shift, I will have been working for 8 hours. Wow, there are so many future tenses to remember. Yes, but once you start using them, they'll become more natural to you. You'll also notice that native speakers use them without even realizing it. That's true. Do you think it's important to master all of these tenses? It depends on your level of English. If you're just starting out, it's probably best to focus on the present and past tenses before moving on to the future. But if you're already advanced, mastering the future tenses will help you express yourself more accurately and effectively. I see. Thanks for explaining all of this to me. No problem. Do you want to practice using some of these tenses together? Sure, that sounds like a good idea. Okay, let's start with a simple one. I will be eating dinner with you tonight. By the time you arrive, I will have been waiting for an hour. I'm going to visit my grandparents next weekend. I will have been working all day by the time you get home. We'll have been married for 5 years next month. I'm sure we'll still be happy together by then. I think so too. And who knows what other adventures we'll have been on by then. I can't wait to find out. Are we done already? Well, welcome to Tiger English Academy. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Let us know what kinds of conversations you would like to have in the future. And don't forget, have a good one.